So, good afternoon again. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How do you do? So today I'm using a completely different camera, right? And this is Puppy, my cat. And yeah. Oh yeah. And to be continued what I said a few weeks ago, my merchandise. So I forgot to show you. So this is, for instance, one of my first collage I ever did, and it's printed on t-shirts. So I have merchandise available on t-shirts, mugs, shower curtains, clocks, metal boards, mobile cases, and give me a second, I have also, just a sec, I have, oh yeah, here, totally forgot. So I have a tote bag, and this is my laptop bag, and this is a tote bag. So this is available on that link down below. And this is my favorite t-shirt. Yeah. So. And this is my favorite cat. Puppy. And she only is my cat too, my favorite. They are my favorite. Yeah, so I continued writing and translating. So, it's in the background, the washing machine. I'm so sorry. So, well, I need to wash. You know. Never mind. You know. So let's keep it going. So yeah. Here. As I was yesterday in the stream, I was talking about I was freely translating, so please be in mind. English is my third language, you know. So here is what I have so far. So, but I had to get my school and the rent together. So I started to sell subscriptions to the Berlin newspaper, so-called Berliner Zeitung. On the recommendation of Sonia, a student of literature studies. Yes, that was feasible for a while until it was really worn out. So my question is also, should I? No, that's fine here, right? Let's get here. I think like that is good. Yes. And other question, is the light okay? Sorry. They're better. Does it make a difference? Oh, this is good. Improvised. Anyway, so that was feasible for a while until it was really worn out, literally. Kreuzberg and Prenzlberg were always the best places. It was almost enough to invest only 1 or 2 hours, and I was sure of a good salary. For example, I only had to walk through Kastanienallee, which is on the border to Mitte, and into the Prater beer garden. That was it. Kreuzberg was also good, especially Kreuzberg 36. Sometimes someone is thinking of me. Someone is madly in love with me. I feel scratching. Just kidding. Sometimes I just spoke a different dialect. They bought it. Yes. And I always said that I would appreciate I always said that I would appreciate it if they gave me a tip. I was still at school and still growing, so to speak. So it's understandable that I need a healthy organic breakfast. Right. That was always available at school. But I hardly ever paid anything for it and always cheated my way through. In Mitte, the newspaper subscription, in Mitte, this other district, the newspaper subscription job didn't work very well. There was just a different clientele at Hackescher Markt. What's with the camera now? Oh. Anyway. Where was I? So at Tacheles, it wasn't worth it anyway. I was only out and about in Mitte a few times. Like once on a sunny, I don't know what the camera is. Only once. I was only out and about in Mitte a few times. Like once on a sunny, warm Thursday at the beginning of June. I try not to move so much because of the camera. When I passed the Schwarze Raben, which was a coffee house, and it was one of the first coffee houses in Berlin a few hundred years ago. It started sometime 1700 something. There was really nothing going on. And in the house next door to the Schwarze Raben was a restaurant, and there sat this Kastorf, this Frank Kastorf, whose name I heard every day, whether it was through the gallery gang, Birol, or Uli Engel from my school. The Volksbühne, the theatre Volksbühne, seemed monstrous to me, the actors and Frank Kastorf. A mystery. Indeed. Well, the good man was sitting there with his girlfriend, Kati Angerer, who I remember because she was also in Trainspotting, that theatre play, and she was my favourite. Not just mine, even Klaus Trappmann, my German teacher. Also, he liked her a lot. And Uli always made jokes about all of them because she was an intern for Chance 2000. Chance 2000 with Schlingensief and his troupe, Christoph Schlingensief. He unfortunately died in 2010 from severe consequences of cancer. Yeah, that was really sad. So back to the evening. Camera. Hello. So back to the camera. I had to stop shortly. So, yeah. So back to the evening in question. The two of them, Frank Kastorf and Kati Angerer, were the only guests there and were sitting opposite each other. It was clearly a romantic thing there, you know, that kind of like dinner, but it was still light outside. So I walked purposefully and quietly to their table, politely said good evening, and asked if they weren't interested in an account, like a subscription or even a trial month for just 18 Deutsche Mark. They looked at me in total bewilderment. What the fuck? Okay, so I asked if they wanted some gummy bears, Haribo. It was a giveaway from the Berliner Zeitung, the newspaper, because the Berlin newspaper is incredibly generous. Silence. And then they said, shocked, "No thanks." Ew. Why that? And I thought, what the fuck? Not even they want to have one. Not even they want to have one. You know? And the evening really didn't go well. But one thing didn't let me go, because I was constantly spoken to that I talk like Carty as my voice and so on, and I'm not Carty, at all. She looks completely different. Being brunette, which I was back in the day, doesn't mean you look exactly the same. And even so, if you're a similar type, you're still not one and the same person, right? Exactly. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah. That was a weird situation. I was really shocked, because they were literally really shocked when I started talking. They both looked at me completely astonished. They didn't know what to say. They just mumbled no things, Oh. I'm drinking fresh ginger and turmeric tea. I chop ginger and turmeric in small slices and cook it with a tiny bit of pepper and cinnamon. It's really good. And after that, I squeeze a fresh lemon into it. Yeah, it's very healthy. I do that nearly every day. And I did my yoga session today. Transcendental meditation. And more focus on that in the morning again is really good. And what else? Isn't she lovely? And yeah. What else? Oh yeah. How did that sound? I was always compared to the young Nina Hagen and Kati Agara. So a mix of it. They are them and I am me. As far as my voice was concerned, I was very sensitive, because everyone was always picking on my voice, even Birol. But I wasn't trained after all. A master of his craft is not a master of his craft at the beginning, isn't he? Because he has to learn that first as a student. In any case, I was pissed off. There seemed to be something to the fact that I talk like Carty. They looked at me so shocked in this restaurant that I was almost taken aback. What they all have is a bottomless impertinence. I'm going home. I was really angry that evening. Not about Castle, Frankie, or anyone. No. Just in general, man, it's like when you waste your time to make money and stuff like that. What can you do? So yeah. And then, how did that sound? I did do a bit of work. So, small ensemble, like theatre ensemble. Yes, at school, I founded a theatre group with Uli Enge that lasted about 6 months. Uli really wanted to be a director. So be it. We decided on Bertolt Brecht's Die Kleinbürger Hochzeit, the Petit Bourgeois Wedding. Please comment down below if that's not the right title, because I didn't check it out before. I was just freely translating. Natalie, the punk, and a few from my class and a few others joined in. At first, everything was promising. Natalie was really great. A jewel, indeed. But the troupe was very unstable because most of them never learned their lines. And Uli kept saying that Frank Kastorf at the Volksbühne doesn't do this and that. He's super strict. You're not even allowed to drink water while he's doing it. You have to stick to the rules. Really? Is that the truth, Uli? She started to annoy me so much with her arrogant Frank Kastorf know-it-all attitude. Because she's not Frank Kastorf. He's a genius. You feel me? He's a bloody genius. That one time, my cola burst and I made her such a bitch. You know, I mean, I talked to her so bitchy and said, I don't give a shit about what happens at Volksbühne. And I can hardly imagine that they, at Volksbühne, what were we? Shit. Sorry. Oh, it's got up. So, and I can hardly imagine that they never get between not drinking water and running to the loo and anyway. What's the point of that, bitch? What the fucking point? She couldn't even make sense of it all. Just read the lines properly. So I said that I was sure that Frank Kastorf would read them all better than she does, because she couldn't. She stuttered around and around, and it was just awful. So, and I said, if I want to know something about the Volksbühne, then I go and see a play there. But there's only this year's only a small ensemble. And this is not Volksbühne. At the Volksbühne, they can't even get off the ground, and it doesn't go on at all. So, you know, Volksbühne is Volksbühne, our ensemble is our ensemble. You get that? So I told her to kiss my ass. And then I think about whether another career choice might be more appropriate, like dramaturgy or theatre studies, like science, theatre science. What lame cunts. And then she was quiet for a while. And all of a sudden she started talking about Schlingensief again, Volksbühne, and what he says and knows and everything. She was constantly name dropping. I just shook my head, threw my notebooks across the floor, and said, I've had enough and I'm leaving. What a load of crap, please. Otherwise, we remained friends. Of course. We went to the theatre almost weekly with Klaus Trappmann, the German teacher, and a few others. Mostly to the Volksbühne. A bit of Schaubühne and a bit of German theatre, Deutsches Theater. Uli insisted on seeing the play Endstation Amerika. Termination America. Lena came along, my friend, this time, and Nora, my other friend, was visiting for a few days, yes. So we met Uli in front of the Volksbühne with two other mutants from my school. Lena, Nora and I had previously, we had a good blow dry but a smoking bone. This time we had seats in the second row on the far left. Uli is also really stoned. Oh no, Uli is always so overly excited, which is great, you know, when someone is excited, don't get me wrong, it's really great to have that too. So we were completely stoned, and it's really hard to keep Uli down, especially when she's really excited, which she was, because she was in a holy folkspooner, you get me? Yeah, bless her. So, I mean, I isolated her. She just had such characteristics that were sometimes a turn-off. Like that she liked to pull me down now and then in a really nasty way. Well, is that friendship? That's more like gaslighting, but I didn't know that back in the day. And so I withdrew from her more and more. Who needs downers? But people like Uli would have been much healthier for me, on the other hand. I was so very differently shaped and in some ways uninfluenced. Yes, so the play Termination America and Station America were spray, and after the performance, yeah, we went, or I was completely sober again. Oh yeah. You know, I have to say, a play directed by Frank Kastorf lasts a number of hours. So the normal amount of time of a theatre play is, in general, like, let's say 2 to 3 hours. Well, that's not happening with Frank Kastorf's plays. It's minimum 4 hours to 6, 7 hours. Yes. So I was completely sober again. I always liked seeing the pretty one. The pretty one? I always liked Sylvia Rieger and Sophie Royce. And, oh! Hübchen, Henry Hübchen. Yeah, but he was strangely off stage. I was now very familiar with the names, thanks to Uli. She bombarded me daily with Volksbühne and every single character of Volksbühne. Yeah. So once I was sitting with her after play. I just went with her, you know, and we went to the canteen, and Uli also, you know, sat, you know, made us clear when we were completely stoned. So after the play, we go downstairs to the canteen. So follow me because I know the way. All right, Uli. So she said, you have to look very serious, like belonging to the house. Okay, we get that. No problem. So we passed towards the foyer, and then there was this door, almost invisible door, you know, fitted into the wall, wood wall, nice old work, you know, and there was a night porter standing there. So we had to knock the hatch shortly and make clear, open the door, please. We important. VIP, you know. Then Ashley always worked. It was funny because she taught us how to do it. So, so we went down there, and one time I was with Uli there, and strangely, every time I went to Volksbühne, especially in Volksbühne, you know, and it turned out that I was kind of dressed like they were dressed in the play. But I didn't plan that. It just happened. But then, you know, people saw me then in the canteen, which I didn't like so much because it felt strange. But anyway, obviously I had a good taste. So, yeah, so we went to Volksbühne. We went to the canteen. And she wanted to sit. There was a bar, so you enter, there's a bar there behind the kitchen where you can order your stuff. Yeah, and then there's a canteen, like an old canteen, wood walls, very nice, you know, even a piano at the end, and round tables mainly. So the first big round table is for the player, for the actors, you know, and she wanted to sit right next in the middle on that other round table, and I was thinking, oh no, I didn't feel really well. Anyway, and then she was sitting there and chatty. I wasn't even listening really. And we had a big pack of gummy bears, and I was just focusing on the gummy bears and was just annoyed by her, like, oh, sitting there, such a visible spot, you know. And then Sylvia Rieger came down, like all the actors came down, and Sophie Royce, and Uli was sitting there and smiled so big towards them. And I was like, oh no, she's so humiliating, this fucking bitch, you know. And I was just turning my head away and eating my Harry Bros. And I thought, oh no, that's really not happening now, right? And then they turned around, of course. And as we are very young, and she was smiling at them like, oh, with such an admiration. It was probably very cute, you know. And she had funny teeth and glasses and must have looked funny. And me with a grumpy face, completely dressed up. Well, it was so cute, you know, young and crusty, you know what I mean? And then, yeah. They turned around and they saw us, of course, and they were so pleased and had that look, like, you know, that mommy look. Oh my gosh, oh look at them, they're so cute. They're our fans. And I was like, no, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fucking groupie. What the fuck, Oli? What did you do? Yeah, so what can I say? What happened? Yeah. But yeah, that was quite often in that canteen, to be frank. Yeah, that was Uli. Bless her. Much later, she stopped talking to me a few years later. I don't even know why. She came to my house once, unannounced. It was years later, and it was like unannounced and like just not the right moment. And I even apologized, but then she was running out, and after that she never ever talked to me ever. If you make jokes, and I saw her in a queue in a supermarket, and I poked her, and she was freaking out. Turn away and run away. I don't know. Bless her. Bless Ulrika Engel. I mean, thanks to Ulrika, you know. Also, once she bought a VHS tape from a theatre play, directed, of course, Frank Castle, and it was from Jean-Paul Sartre, The Dirty Hands, Die schmutzigen Hände. Lovely theatre play. I just saw it on VHS, right? Lovely play with Martin Wuttke, Matthias Matschke and Kati. Ah, my favorite, you know? Yeah, saw it at home in my place. Yeah, it's funny. It's like they should these shows from back in the day, they should be accessible online, at least like that you can buy them, you know, because there's lovely stuff, I can tell. Very, very good plays, you know. It's a shame, you know, but who knows, maybe that's possible one day. Like, you can do that with other theatres. You can even watch anything, you know, and buy and watch plays from the National Theatre. which is great. But here, England, old good England, and London especially, you know, are the main capital of theatre, isn't it? Also, in London, there's so many musicals. I've never been a musical fan as such, but I have to admit, I have seen a couple of musicals which I really, really liked. Just out of curiosity. Well, my favorite was, and I would probably see it again, the Bob Marley musical. It's really good. Really, really good. Yeah. So I think that's it for today. You know, thank you very much. I have to get going anyway now. Lots of love. And remember, Marchie was spilling the tea again. God hired me. Who's gonna fire me? Exactly.